Pussy like cocaine, put it up your nose. What you know about that? They don't know nothing about this. Bells, how many times we got to do this just to come to the realization that they have no freaking clue? Well, I'll tell you somebody that does 100%, and that is the Andrew Bello. He knows all about that, putting it in his nose and all that other stuff. What's going on, sir? How are you? Welcome back to your show. It's the God of Thunder, the Andrew Bello. Tell us something.
Indeed. Yeah, I got to put this big schnoz to some good use,
Hell
and I
yeah.
most certainly do. Goddess of Thunder appreciates, and yeah, no, I'm doing my thing. Happy to be with you guys, but we may have some run-ins here. Spoiler alert, and I'm excited for those. Mania was, I don't know, man. I feel like the overall zeitgeist is like this was kind of meh. I enjoyed myself. I had a good weekend. I thought this was all fun. For the record, I picked all the matches correct, like all of the matches that went on as advertised. I got them correct. And Billy Ray wasn't with us, but he also got them all correct because he's Billy Ray. So I hope you guys were paying attention. Hope you guys play some bets, and we made you some money right here on
Absolutely. And this is
WLR, baby.
This is what I the biggest takeaway from this entire thing. I wasn't even there. Bello just took it and tapped into the Akashic records and figured out the whole freaking deal. Okay. So if you wanted, right, to protect yourself from all the shit that's going on, all you had to do was listen to the Andrew Bello and pull out your 401k, whatever you have left, pull it out. And you go to Vegas and you bet every single dime on everything that Bello put out there. It was that simple. And you'd be a billionaire right now. We made several millionaires here on WLR. I got some correspondence. It was for you. I'll forward them over to you, because I wasn't around. They were like, Bello did this. I'm like, I told you, stupid ass. You would have listened before. You'd have been rich a long time ago. You wouldn't be struggling to buy eggs. But they're good now. And they're very happy for what you did, the public service that you provided the people of WLR. Very sexy predictions by the Andrew Bello and knocked it out of the ballpark. I also enjoyed myself during WrestleMania weekend, even though the majority of it was trash, but I enjoyed watching it nonetheless. I still was like, you know what? I'm going to watch WrestleMania. Night 2 was very entertaining, although the main event for night 2 was straight trash. It was entertaining for different reasons. I was entertained. Let's just put it that way. The Andrew Bello introduced the man.
Oh, this man.
That dude.
You mean the main event of the evening?
The main event of not that main event that we got on Sunday. Not that.
No, not main event Jey Uso either. That's
Ain't no Travis Scott coming up here, bro. But main event Jey Uso.
Nah. Yeah,
that guy can't touch the main event. He was the opening act. What are you talking about, main event?
Yeah.
This guy here, though, different situation. Go ahead, sir.
Totally different situation, because this man comes to us from the land of the Sun Devil by way of the Denver airport. He stands at 6 feet, 6.6 inches tall, weighing in at an unbelievably svelte 666 pounds. All biceps. God damn, there they are, folks. Get a good look. You ain't gonna be seeing them for a little while. He is the master of the massive memories, the connoisseur of the colossal kajungas, and the hunker of shooters. Yeah, it's still Triple H. He's sexy. No, not Triple H. He's stranglery. Strangler. Steve.
Boom. Thanks, Bells. That was that's a top 3.
That was a
top 3.
Oh, good. It started a little rough, but
that's all right. You made up for it. People don't remember the finish. Don't worry about it. But thank you on this last episode for a while of WLR, coming in hot with a beautiful entrance, and I really appreciate that. And it's been a heck of a week with the the smoke settling. I do. For putting up with everything in my life. We got the new countertops put in last week. The new dishwasher's in. The new fridge is in. It's looking fantastic. It's better than I could have hoped for. And I said to my wife, "This is like having a brand new house without the mortgage." It's been awesome to see it like this. And
excellent.
It's like almost appeases my mind because I couldn't stand the way the kitchen was looking before. It was so beat up from the renters that we had here a couple of years ago, and we just been waiting and just doing one job at a time in our houses. Because we did this 2 showers last year. We do the countertops now. Next year we're going to do the vanities and the flooring and the bathrooms upstairs, and it'd be like having a brand new place. It's fantastic. So I'm really enjoying that. It was a lot of stress getting ready to do it because I was just hoping everything comes out, because I have so much PTSD from trying to get guys to do work in my house, and things always go south, and there's always a huge issue that you got to deal with. And believe it or not, this went fairly seamlessly, which, I earned basically, with all the shit I've had to deal with over the years doing home projects. I feel like I've earned this. So we just have a couple more things to do just to finish it up. I got to get the little caps for the outlets, and I have to exchange the new coffee pot I got because I opened up, took it out of the box, and it was broken on the bottom. So got to go exchange that for a new one. Got a brand new water filter. Can't wait to put that together. And it's looking really good. It's going to be the summer stress. So it's looking pretty cool. And we had a great time for WrestleMania weekend. And we can say what we want about the finishes. And, yes, it was probably not the best Mania we've ever seen, but we had a good time watching it. And we even had a good time picking it apart and everything. So
hell yeah, we did.
It was a fun time had by all. We ate like we were going to the electric chair all weekend long, and it was really, really good. We stuffed our faces, and now we're kind of trying to reel it back in and get back on our usual eating habits and stuff like that. But it's tough when you've had a great 4-day run of just eating whatever the hell you want and as much as you want. It's been a real good time.
All right, all right.
We can welcome
That was great.
the honorary fourth horseman, fourth Wednesday locker room junkie, if you will.
The apocalypse is upon us.
There it is. I'm surprised you're home. You're not making dinner. Well, it's only 10:30 there, so maybe
No, we had
hours.
We had the game tonight. Bello, your New Jersey Devils are down 2-0 to our Hurricanes.
Devils when they're down 2-0. Let me tell you that.
Man, let me tell you something. Completely off topic, but on topic. You guys just reminded me. Last night, I was watching Raw. I was about to watch the greatest intercontinental champion of all time, Dom Dom, versus Cero Miedo o Bien Pendejo, according to Dom Dom. And I'm like, I'm all ready to watch it. And my son is like, hey, the Knicks are playing. And I'm like, oh gosh, and I have severe trauma from my days as a child watching the Knicks in the 90s getting destroyed by Reggie Miller, getting destroyed by Michael Jordan, and Hakeem Olajuwon. Pick one. It's all traumatizing. I think Reggie Miller is the most traumatizing.
Yeah.
And yesterday I decided to go and turn on the game, and leave Raw alone for a second. And I watch the first thing that happens as soon as I turn on the freaking television. They're tied in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go or something, and some jabron from I don't even know who they were playing, the Pistons, just freaking threw up a ball 3-pointer, bang, and the game is freaking essentially over. And I lost it. I'm like, you know what? Never again. I had swore off of this a long time ago, and I went back and I'm like, never again. And I'm telling my kid, I'm like, you know what? I went through this for years, and now I turn it on, and this is what you subject me to. I'm not doing this again. Never again am I watching the New York Knicks, okay? It's just setting up for disappointment. I mean, damn it, man. How many times are you going to blow a game like that? I mean, it's been a lot of years since they've been in the playoffs, and eventually, in my lifetime, hopefully, they'll win a championship. But it was so depressing to see that yesterday. And immediately I turned back to Monday Night Raw, just saying that's what happened. And I texted my friends immediately, and I was like, hey, never watching the Knicks again. I have connections, past life connections to that league. Okay. So those people that sat with me for years and years and years and years, I was like, you know what? I'm not ever doing this again. And most of them agreed with me. That's what's up?
Just to drive the dagger a little further, I don't know if you've ever seen Clerks, the cartoon, but in the episode, NBA players become jurors, and one of the jurors is Patrick Ewing. and they have these dream sequences, and there's like one where Patrick Ewing makes a shot, and they're like, "Yay, Patrick Ewing made a shot that counts," and the Knicks actually won a game for won a good game for once, right? And then he wakes up from a dream, and his wife's like, "Oh, did you have that dream again, honey?" And he's just like,
"Well, yeah, that's what happened yesterday." Holy shit, is that Colin? Yes, this guy. It is, Colin. It's a very sexy, season finale of WLR, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're doing here today. Hey, let's get into it. All right. WrestleMania, although it was entertaining to sit and text with my boys about WrestleMania, it wasn't exactly the greatest WrestleMania. Night one was the pits. It just was the pits from beginning to end. We're going to talk about not main event. Jey Uso, he can't freaking cut a promo. We've said this many times here on WLR, but good Lord, all right? He just continues. And then he's drunk at the press conference. My guy, stay off the fucking booze for a couple of hours. All right. It was incoherent. I don't know if any of you guys saw him.
I can imagine it would have been hard to tell either way. So I'm like, I don't know.
It was something else. Anyway, so there was that. And he made Gunther tap. We'll talk about that. But the rest of the in between was just literally an episode of Monday Night Raw and not a good one. And then we got to the main event of night one, which was all right. And what happened at the end kind of drove it home, but it wasn't exactly an incredible match. It was good. It was all right. Night two, on the other hand, started off really, really strong. It was fucking dope. I think every match was good up until we got that debacle. Probably, and Striz tweeted it out, and he got some love on this, because he was like, "This is the worst shit I've ever seen in my life, and people should be ashamed of themselves," and all of that. I gave it a heart. I thought he was right.
The main event specifically of night two.
What's that, buddy?
It was about the main event specifically.
Right. Yeah, we're talking about John Cena and Cody Rhodes here. Yeah. And after that, I'm sitting there trying to think of what was worse. Right. And I can't think of anything that was worse. I could think of things that are possibly on level, like Jericho and Triple H. That was atrocious, but it wasn't bad like this. And of course, WrestleMania 9, right, which is, I think, the worst main event of all time. Not Bret Hart's fault. This could be worse than that.
It's everyone but Bret Hart's fault, actually.
What's up, buddy?
Everyone but Bret Hart's fault.
Right.
Yeah, literally everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
It was our fault too.
For what? And I know I'm missing something. It probably something that Batista was involved in was probably very bad. But whatever. Like I'm not thinking. That's why I got you guys here for. You guys know all of this. Really, really bad. Let's start with that, man. We'll work our way backwards. Fucking shit. My Lord. I was like, what is going on here? Right. First off, the match, and I understand what John Cena was trying to do. I get it. He's the heel. He was slowing it down. He was being very methodical about shit, but it was pretty fucking boring. Right. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is going to pick up. Right. Yeah, it's definitely going to pick up. And it'll be great towards the end. Right. And I didn't want to see the stupid final boss. Okay. I didn't want to see his punk ass come out because it would really upset me if I saw him come out. And I'm like, if you're there, and he probably was backstage, he made up some shit about being in Hawaii. If he did, he said he was in Hawaii. I don't believe you, Rock. I don't believe you. But anyway, I'm glad I didn't see his punk ass come out, even though actually it might have been better if he did, because they gave us Travis Scott. So as soon as he comes out, I'm like, what? And it only went downhill from there. None of this made any sense. John Cena wins because of Travis Scott. And you know what was I was about to say the gayest thing. You know what's the worst thing about this was that they were both standing in the middle of the ring, right? And WWE's been doing this with fucking inanimate objects. I don't know why. It was that stupid freaking bracelet that CM Punk was wearing, and they made that the centerpiece of the feud with Drew McIntyre. Now, listen, we're sitting there, and they gave us nothing really to lead up to the storyline. and Cody Rhodes is sitting there with the belt, and he's like, should I hit him? Should I do it? And Cena's like, just waiting to get hit, and punk ass Cody Rhodes can't pull the trigger, so Cena kicks him in the nuts, and then cheats and wins. It was so stupid. I'm like, this is lazy, and you didn't explain it. And what the fuck happened to The Rock? And why is Travis Scott in my life? Like, I've gone out of my way to not have that guy a part of my life. I don't understand the music. I don't get the appeal. I don't go to the festivals. I don't want to have anything to do with Travis Scott, but all of a sudden he is inserted into something that's very, very dear to me, and I have to watch his punk ass destroy WrestleMania. Granted, it wasn't his fault. I mean, some of it was his fault, but I'm putting these square on the feet of The Rock, who probably did this shit, and we have to talk about Triple H's involvement to some degree. But anyway, one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It was really, really, really bad. Striz, I'm coming to you.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a very big letdown for the main event. If it wasn't in the main event spot, I would have considered it a much better match. But having it be the last thing that you watch at the night, after all the people who bust their ass all night, it was very, very much a letdown. The pace was just too slow for a main event in today's wrestling. And I understand the whole methodical point, and he's picking Cody apart. And the whole premise of the match, the story of the match was, does Cody have what it takes to pull the trigger and do what he needs to do, regardless of what the fans want, and you knock John Cena out with the belt and get the win over the guy and keep him from being the 17-time world champion, yada, yada, yada. But here, we're watching the end of a portion of the feud. And that part makes sense. Cena gets his 17th win. He wins as a heel. Cody leaves as a, babyface, but the fans really were kind of 50-50 the whole time anyway. And there were a lot of boos for Cody, but there were also some boos for Cena. But here's what the overarching gigantic part of this angle, which some of it won't even involve Cena physically, is that this is some of the seeds that will be planted to eventually turn Cody heel. So over the next 9 months, 27 dates that John Cena has left, by the time next year's WrestleMania rolls around, I have a sneaking suspicion that the main event will be Randy Orton, who wins the belt from Cena. He's going to drop it to the guy he's worked with the most over the last 20-something years. Randy gets his 14th title or 15th title as a top babyface, and then goes into Mania against the heel Cody Rhodes, who, as I said, the whole impetus of Cody Rhodes' heel persona will be at that time was John Cena was right. And, he'll finally have turned his back on the fans and will be doing business for himself and not his father or not the fans, but for him. And he'll be doing something for himself for the first time in his life. And in the overarching, in the 2-year, 3-year story of all this, it does make sense. So we have to remember that it's not just about Mania ending and that's the end of the angle. This is going to be something that's very long seated. So we have to be a little patient in that regard. And hopefully it will pay off, because I do think when when Cody turns heel, it'll be really cool. It'll be really awesome. And it'll be the shot at B12 that he really needs. Because then he doesn't have to do the placating fake car salesman smile and all that silly shit. He should grow his hair out a little bit, dye it jet black, get in there all murdered up with the black suit, black tie, black vest. You know what I mean? Do all the things he did before as a heel in other companies, and get lots of heat. Get as much heat as you can. So when he goes in there against Randy at WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans, hopefully there's tons and tons of heat. They have a year to build to that, so hopefully that's the direction they're going. Overall, Mania over the 2 nights was fairly underwhelming, but some good outcomes. Lots of titles changed hands, and for good reasons. And overall, I'd say it was less than average for Mania, but it's still Mania, so I still enjoyed it, even when it's like, this sucked and I didn't like that. It's like, well, it was still fun, like, well, what are we paying, $5 a month to get Peacock or whatever? How pissed off can you get in a way? But it's like, you wait all year, you want to have these gigantic moments, and it seemed like we got very few, or we should have gotten maybe a few more anyway.
I thought Raw was a little bit more entertaining than what we got. I mean, the second night of Mania was dope. I enjoyed almost everything. Even the main event sucked balls, but it was good to watch the car crash. All facts right now. That's all you're about to hear. If you are into disinformation, if you are into being lied to the umpteenth level, this is not the segment for you. Okay. Too many facts are going to be thrown at you right now. Can you handle it? All right, is all I'm saying. You've been forewarned. All facts. Colin Wyson, tell us what's up.
Well, first off, if you're going to listen to Travis Scott, you have to take it with tetrahydrocannabinol and psilocybin for it to really be effective.
Damn.
That's how you take your Travis Scott.
I don't want
So
Travis Scott in any sort of way.
you can't go in the portal if you don't take your Travis Scott.
Well, thank you for clarifying.
You have to. But this main event, guys, what do you expect? John Cena told us what he was gonna do. He went out there, did what he was gonna do, and guess what? We got all the crybaby John Cena marks out here. This man's main event is so terrible. It's so bad. It is terrible. What do you expect? The man John Cena always keeps his word, even as a heel. He said he's going to make it terrible. 2025 is going to be the worst year of wrestling ever from John Cena. And it's great. I'm loving every bit of it. And I'm excited to see where he goes. This man sold his soul to the final boss. And it's going to be a great 2025 when he finally loses the title at the end of his run to, I don't know who, maybe Cody gets his comeuppance. Maybe it's a new person that we see that comes in and takes it. Maybe it's Gunther. Who knows? But this main event was what we were told that we were going to get. And all of you main event John Cena crybabies out there, you could just keep crying. Just keep crying. Because John Cena's going to keep just making that money.
Shit. Damn. Way to fucking shit all over me, Colin. I thought I gave you a good intro. I was just trying to hype you up. That way you would, be nice to me, but that didn't work out. The Andrew Bello, ladies and gentlemen, is here. The God of Thunder. Please don't stare too hard into the sun. You will go blind. We've told you this many, many times. Tell them what's up, Bells. Listen, man. This shit was bad, bro. I want to get into who did this shit, right? We're gonna play some detective work after you give your thoughts on this, right? Why was this 2 years in a row of fucking up Mania? I think this year fucked up worse than last year, but still. Go ahead, sir. Tell us what's up.
Yeah, they were both fucked up because Cody Rhodes was in the main event both years. So that's
damn.
That's the problem. We should have got Rock and Roman last year, and we should have gotten literally any other configuration of matches than what we got this year. Like a fucking blind man and a dartboard could have put together a better Mania card than we ended up with. It's just started with curtain jerk Jey Uso and all that nonsense, and we are working our way backwards. But just to kind of set the tone, like night one was very disappointing. Night two started off with like the first three matches of night two, I was like, fuck, I think I'm watching the best night of WrestleMania maybe ever. Like this shit was like on fire. That women's match was absolutely insane. Even McIntyre and fucking bisexual Undertaker, tore the house down for what they were doing. It just like great start. And I kind of, I called it here. Like I said Cena was going to end up winning. And I thought it was going to be like you were going to get a really nice, uplifting, great night for most of the night because it was going to end really poorly. And I think as much as we didn't necessarily enjoy watching it, and I did my usual fall asleep during Cody's entrance thing. So I like ended up having to wake up and find the, I woke up just as like Travis Scott was coming out basically. And I was like, oh, perfect timing. And I expected The Rock to come out immediately after him because it's like as much as The Rock fucked this all up, he fucked it up even more this time by not sticking his nose in it. Like now The Rock's involvement in this makes zero sense whatsoever. Like at least if he came out, maybe even did, I don't know, anything, literally anything, just walked out, raised an eyebrow. Travis Scott did everything that he did. This might make a little bit more sense, but instead we've got 140-pound rapper. I don't even know if this guy raps. I've listened to a lot of his music. I wouldn't consider what he does necessarily rapping. And this is said by a rapper. So nevertheless, not a big fan of Trav on the music front, not even, especially not a big fan of his on the wrestling front. And bad news for all of us. Apparently this is now his full-time job. So we'll be seeing a lot of this moving forward. But I kind of like the angle that Cena took with this, as much again as it wasn't like fun to watch, and it probably wasn't an appropriate WrestleMania main event. I feel like it almost has all the more impact because of all of those things I just said. It's like he comes out with this fucking Microsoft Word fucking, background, and like just no fanfare, the total opposite of a big WrestleMania entrance, which was obviously like the point. And then he comes out and cheats to win and wins the 17th. And it's like, because it's WrestleMania, because it's the 17th, like all of this just weighs so much more. It's so much more fucked up. And I think everything about this is just like, damn, Cena snapped and everything's fucked up now. Like everything's on its ear. Randy Orton's coming out and he's a babyface on Raw now. Like everything's all fucking like, like we got babyface Orton versus a heel Cena now. Like it's a parallel universe that we've dove into. And I, to a certain extent, like I've been kind of trying to look back at the big picture, and I watched him on McAfee, and he was he's really leaning into this. I'm leaving and I'm taking this title with me. The way he put it on McAfee was just like perfect. He's just like, like what I've put into this business. He's like, I understand that, when I leave, they're going to make a new belt and the show's going to go on and there's going to be a new champion and all that sort of stuff. But I'm taking this with me. I'm taking Bruno and I'm taking Flair and I'm taking, Triple H and Shawn Michaels and this legacy and everyone who's ever held this title. I'm taking that with me and it's coming home with me. And I thought to myself, in like a roundabout way, it's almost like I kind of hope it happens, because it's maybe we could finally put sports entertainment to bed for once. Like, it's like that's like, yeah, he's taken a lot of the professional wrestling lineage that came before it, but it's like with Cena, sports entertainment dies. Like, like with that retirement, I kind of almost like wish that we get there. And I kind of hope that's like the meta way that they try to deliver it to us. We start off on Monday Night Raw, on January 2nd or whatever the fuck it ends up being. And it's just like, what now? And we basically hit a reset in a creative way that isn't Vince Russo running out on TV and being like, all right, we're taking the belts away from everybody. Like they could find a way to reset this somehow. And I think if they could do it through storyline and you have John Cena at the helm here, like I think this could be something bigger than we're really grasping right now is kind of what I'm getting at. And I'm willing to take a shitty main event in a match that I wasn't going to enjoy anyway, because I hate Cody Rhodes. So I'm fine with all of this so far.
Can I interject here? Am I the only one? Which actually I'm not, because Hell's Bells saw it too. I'm sorry about this, but are we two, me and Hell's Bells, the only one that saw the one punch welt that was on the side of Cody Rhodes' face? You have all these. You got the Big Show's punch. You've got all these knockout punches, and here comes Travis Scott, just one shot, just marking a guy up in the face. I mean, Strizd, would you want to be slapped or hit by a guy like that?
If that motherfucker hit me like that, he would get away with it for about until we got back to the locker room. And then I would fucking kill him.
Oh my gosh.
But he's a guest and he's, worth a ton of, I guess, social media crap. So, obviously they're treating him like royalty, but, if he was just a schmuck, like, a lot of times in the indies, they'll have like these shows where like it's bought and paid for by the school to try to get money for whatever. And they involve, everybody's favorite gender is going to be the guest, manager in a match, or the principal is going to be in a haircut match versus like the, whoever, everybody's favorite science teacher. And one of them ends up getting their haircut, or they both get their haircut. And they have a little spot in the match that's like, they're not in wrestling. They don't know how any of it works, and you try to get them through it. And most of the time it works out good. And then some of the time it's just like, oh, fuck my life sideways. And then, but if somebody like took a liberty like the way Travis Scott did, it's like, man, you got to give it back to him somewhere, somehow. And yeah, it's like you want him to lay it in because he can't do it worked. He's never trained for this. so he can't do a worked punch. So he's got to hit him hard because he is 140 pounds. And when you do work with smaller guys, you'd be like, hey, lay it in because I got to sell something. And don't give me something that's, if it looks like shit, I'm not going to sell it. So it's the catch-22. He had to lay it in, but the way he didn't have to hit him in the, fucking pop Cody's eardrum or give him a black eye. There's a lot of places you could have hit Cody on his entire body where they wouldn't have done damage, and he could have really laid it in and, it wouldn't have hit him, slap him in the stomach, cup your hand and go whack. It makes a great sound. People see it. You can haul off on a dude and hit him 80% full force and he'll be fine. But that's not what happened. Now you took the top dude and you fucking hurt him. So it's like, man, that's bad business.
Now take off your wrestler cap and put your promoter cap on and say Travis Scott slapped one of your top talents like that. Are you not using that built-up heat on your next possible show as the promoter?
Well, here's the thing is that you do need to have it as a payoff somewhere where Travis Scott gets his. And I'm sure that's going to happen. It's going to be down the road. It's not going to be – it should have been at Mania because it was the closest in the circle of this particular angle of where it would have made the most sense to pay it off. It just shows me that there's more Travis Scott stuff coming down the road where he's got to get his. So,
Yeah, he's training supposedly.
Well, yeah, and good luck to the boys who have to put that piece of shit over. And, this is why they pay the guys a lot of money nowadays to deal with shit like that and be like, oh, it's a payday, you know what I mean? So, the thing is with a guy that has to work with him, you got to be able to take great care of the guy because you can't just pick him up and break his fucking back like they would have been like 1978 and throw him in a dumpster and maybe somebody will find him, maybe they don't. This is like you got to take care of the guy. And then he'll be on fucking SportsCenter talking about, oh, everybody was so nice to me. Oh, the guy I wrestled X, Y, and Z. He was so, he gave me a big hug afterwards and told me how awesome I was because they can't help but show you how the fucking sausage is made constantly in WWE, which is why they have a fucking mystique problem at this stage of the game, and probably one of the reasons why they're not selling out their stadiums. And not that we think that people think wrestling is real, because we certainly know they don't, but to keep showing them constantly how we do this is what's taking away any of the special feeling that you get when you watch any of this kind of stuff. I don't believe Duke the Dumpster Droski really did, take out somebody's trash. But I didn't need to know that, his name is Eric Simmons and he lives in fucking, Boca Raton, Florida. I don't need to know that. Yeah, exactly.
Like the repo man really did repo cars?
His name wasn't Eric Simmons, by the way, but I mean, you get the point.
The Shockmaster got into the Hall of Fame,
Yes, he did.
So there is that. Listen. Let me clarify a few things before we get to the investigation that we're going to do here as to who is responsible for this bullshit, right? Travis Scott is from the hood, right? There's no fucking work, all right? We're going to fucking hit you, right? And we're going to hit you hard. So when they went to Travis Scott in the bag, Triple H was like, listen, you got to pull your punch. Travis Scott was like, I ain't pulling shit, Triple H. I ain't pulling shit and stop me. And he's like, give me that title. So he took the title and he walked out with it and he smacked the shit out of Cody Rhodes. What else did you expect? You should have seen what I did to somebody in the supermarket today who took the last can of Spam. I beat the freaking trash out of them. I wasn't pulling any freaking punches. That's how we do. So that explains that situation. Okay. Second, we really need to start thinking about, because they're not telling any stories here. The last great story in the WWE, and I was thinking about this. I was reflecting upon it. I went and meditated for a few hours, trying to come up with a solution or with an answer to all of this. The last great story was really Cody Rhodes, and complete. It's the truth. It's the last. I mean, you laugh, but there were millions and millions of people that were invested into this. He main evented WrestleMania 3 times in a row. They made a lot of money. They're still making a shit ton of money. And the thing is, that was a Vince McMahon storyline. We still haven't seen a Triple H champion, not yet. We even if CM Punk wins the title, that's from the old school. We haven't seen a new school, new era real champion. Cody Rhodes was not it. Cody Rhodes was recruited by Vince McMahon, and this whole storyline of completing the story originated with Vince McMahon. So whose freaking issue is this? Another thing that I had is when after it was a disaster, right? That main event, but on Monday Night Raw, Randy Orton just pops out of nowhere and RKO's him, and this is what we've been doing well, not us, but what they've been doing for the last year at least. There's no real storyline. They just start off with something. Every Cody Rhodes feud just started off, oh my God, here comes whomever, and hits him over the head with a chair. Or here comes fucking Paul, whatever the fuck his name is. Jake Paul, London Paul, Logan Paul. Here comes Logan Paul and kicks him in the back of the head and that's the way the freaking feud starts. There's no substance, zero there. And this, all right, so The Rock starts the whole thing off with this feud, right? And he's like, hey, cut his throat, right, to John Cena. He gives him the whole deal. He sold his soul. Then you never see The Rock again. And there are a lot of benefits to not seeing The Rock again. But when he inserts himself into a storyline, at least have the common decency to fucking finish it. And it happened last year, right? It happened last year with him trying to insert himself into the main event, right? And probably win the world championship at WrestleMania. And they had to freaking fix it because nobody wanted to see that shit. This was the year to have Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Instead, for some reason, he inserts himself into the John Cena storyline and then is never heard from again. Also, he puts the Ulafala on freak, if that's even the way you say it. Here's another thing that WWE is using. He puts it on Roman Reigns, squashing that, right? There's no beef anymore. He's like, you are my tribal chief. And that was it. That was the end of it. Like, I think The Rock has about 90% of the blame here, to be honest with you. And Triple H has some of the blame. He probably, it looks like from behind the scenes, he was the one responsible for having Jey Uso win the Royal Rumble, which started the freaking decline of WrestleMania, right? But Triple H ultimately has to do whatever freaking The Rock says to a degree. It's the board of directors, and it's not like he has like full autonomy or something, but it looks like whatever The Rock says they're doing, because all the nonsensical shit just gets inserted into whatever they're doing at the time. And then The Rock can't follow through because he's got to do something, and everything just goes away. And there's no explanations, no way to tie it in. So kind of Triple H has his hands tied behind his back. I do give him some that there's still a lot of questions as to if Triple H can, or under the Triple H era, can they come up with a compelling storyline to bring people in, like the Bloodline storyline or like the Finish the Story storyline? We have no proof that this is even possible. So I don't know where we're headed here. I like Triple H a lot better than I like The Rock in this situation, but this doesn't look good. It doesn't. I don't know who said, hey, it's a good idea for Gunther to tap out to Jey Uso, and have Jey Uso wear that main event vest to the ring when he's opening up. Yeah, let him do that. Like, I mean, it's just stupid shit like that. And I'm watching it and I'm like, I'm not the only one who's catching on to this shit. So I don't know. I think The Rock is responsible for 90% of this shit, but we can't leave Triple H out of it either. Bells, I'm coming to you first. What's up?
Yeah, I gotta blame The Rock mostly here, and I've been a Rock apologist. But to your point, I mean, we don't know that Triple H didn't co-sign. We don't know that he didn't come up with all of this, frankly. My biggest issue with the Rock thing is again, like, he got himself involved. Let's take even further step back. Like, he came out randomly on Raw and was like, "Oh, remember all that shit with me and Cody? Like, yeah, water under the bridge. We text all the time, bro. We're like pals." And then like a month later, he shows back up and he's like, now he's doing this angle. Like, it was just all so fucking convoluted. And then again, like, when he had the chance to get himself involved, when it would have made some sense and added to the story a little bit, He doesn't. Like, we all thought we were getting this like weird faction with John Cena, you know, Travis Scott and The Rock, and that's like what they teased. That's what happens when you end the show with them. Like for instance, when goddamn Hulk Hogan ended the show at Bash at the Beach in 1996 with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Like, we saw them all together. Like on Monday, it wasn't them in pieces randomly popping up over the court. Like they just dropped the ball so bad on all of this. And then to make it even worse is they could have fixed it, and the internet could have fixed this for them. I actually saw a really good theory that somebody had pieced together on Instagram, and it was like something like, imagine Jey Uso's in on this too. Like the fact that Jey Uso won the Rumble, that he's now suddenly like showing a bit of a darker side. He beats Gunther. And so I present like my twist on this whole theory is like, imagine Monday Night Raw opens with The Rock coming out. Like, after everything that happened, him not even being involved in WrestleMania, but The Rock comes out to open Raw, and he brings out Cena. They talk some shit. They're just shitting all over the fans. And then Jey Uso's music hits, and everybody's eating, and they think like, oh, our big babyface champion is out here to save the day. And he walks into the ring, into the warm embrace of The Rock, and we find out that this yeet shit was a work the whole time, that you fucking marks are so stupid that you'll buy anything that says fucking like a one-word fucking slogan that you can chant at shows. And they fucking, the whole thing was a work the whole time. He's not a baby face. He's been working for The Rock for months, and this has been the whole angle. And now The Rock has not but one, but both of the world champions under his thumb. And now you've got that fucking environment to deal with moving forward. The Rock wants to get involved. Like, that's how he could have done it. He could have been like an authority figure. This builds up the matches eventually, potentially triple, you know, fucking three 6-man tag matches with Cena, Rock, and Jey Uso, so that the two of them can kind of be protected. Uso can do a lot of the bumping. Like, it's, you know, just spitballing here. Just throwing that.
I think it's a great idea, Bill.
Right. Thank you.
Fantastic. No, I thought it was a good idea too.
Can I expand upon that?
Iron Patriot is saying, yeah, I got you right now, Striz. Iron Patriot is saying that I'm finally making hella sense. Listen, man, listen. I always fucking make sense. You understand? Always. I make sexy sense. All right, all the time. All right, it's about time that you're catching up. It's been a long time since we're doing this show, and you finally seem to be there. I'm proud of you, my son. Okay. I was gonna go to Colin Weishong, but Striz wants to get in. What's up, Striz? Tell him what's going on.
I was just gonna say, if they were to do it the way Bello rolls it out, is I feel like the most of you say that there hasn't been many stories. I feel like the most compelling story they could do at this point, because everything is so thrown out there as everything is at work, and here's how we make the fucking sausage, and here's how we do everything we do from beginning to end, and here's how we create payoffs. I feel like the real story should be, The Rock's a fucking asshole and has way too much power and stroke in the back. He's pushing his family to the moon with all the things that he's done over the last year, putting people in the Hall of Fame that don't deserve to be there, putting his children on TV, all the boys that have anyone that's ever called him uncle or auntie has a job. Meanwhile, Triple H, who's spent 25-something years there, who's earned it time and time again, is now being, steamrolled. So the most natural story is, who really is controlling this company? Is it going to be The Rock, or is it going to be Triple H? And that's our year-long story is, we're going to move towards who's going to, be the one who's running this thing into the future. And now that The Rock has both champions on his side now, Triple H has to put his team together, and they involve other people, and perhaps just as a, something kind of with a little intrigue, because we're not sure if we can trust him or not, is Roman Reigns. Where does he stand? Because, yes, he does have the Ulafalo, which was given to him by The Rock after he earned it back, but The Rock's never got in the ring with him, and yada, yada. So there's a little bit of unanswered stuff there that could keep Roman babyface, but also the bloodline thing that could turn him heel at any second. We're not sure. So there's a little bit of questioning with that. You're never sure who, what we're going to get out of that. But that could be a more compelling storyline of, The Rock's shit. They go in the ring on Monday nights and they talk shit about Triple H and why he's not, he doesn't have the stroke that The Rock does. And then on Fridays, Triple H comes out with his team and yada, yada, yada. So you get the Raw versus SmackDown. You have the power player versus the power player. They have their teams where they're making new guys who are going to be the guys who are on top the whole year, kind of, coming up to this angle. And just could be some kind of compelling television. and kind of, because it's coming from something that's kind of real, that the fans are like, why does The Rock shit on stuff and get involved and then leave it all high and dry and leave Triple H there to fucking clean up the mess? And you know what I mean? Like, Rock wants to take you for a ride. Like, just stay there, take it. I'm going to be a heel and a babyface in the same promo, and laugh when I tell you to laugh, jump when I tell you to jump, cry when I tell you to cry, and then I'm going to go on TV and tell you, oh, it's all a big fat work, but it's not a work because I'm going to put my grandmother in the Hall of Fame, my daughter on TV as somebody who's telling people what for and putting them in place and making matches. So is it a work? Is it a shoot? Is there somewhere in between that it can be both? Let's figure this thing out. I'm not sure if any of you guys watched The Five. It's a talk show of five pundits in politics. It's on the Fox News at 5 o'clock every night. And Greg Gutfeld, who's a part of that, who does have his own show later in the night, he's part of the five pundits who talk every night. And they opened his show on Gutfeld with part of it. He has 4 guests who come on. They discuss the daily topics. The topic on his show, the opening topic was the art of kayfabe, and how Donald Trump uses kayfabe to get over with people because they don't understand who they're talking to, and yada, yada, yada. And Glenn Jacobs, Kane was there, and Tyrus was there to talk about kayfabe and what it is. It was like, I'm watching this going, is this my life right now? Am I watching this? It's be one of the most, the word kayfabe used to be one of the most sacred words in the business, one of the most. And like, it wouldn't matter if like you were blood enemies with somebody in the locker room. If somebody said kayfabe, you guys would, if your business was that you guys were best of buddies, you'd have your arms over each other's shoulders and walking down a hallway somewhere. It was the word that defined the brotherhood at one point. So it was a very, very held to the heart word. Now here it is on TV. So since we're having this word out there and everybody knows exactly what wrestling really is, let's give them The Rock wants to do this, this, and this, and put his family over, and Jacob Fatu wins the U.S. title. Jey Uso becomes world champion. Yada yada yada. The whole family is up on this pedestal. Everybody else is playing second and third fiddle to the Samoans, which is it is what it is. So, but that could be the whole angle. I feel like for the whole next year, on top of like the John Cena stuff, being a heel champion with The Rock.
All right. Okay.
Samoan supremacy angle. I love it.
Colin Wysong, what's going on, buddy?
So, 2 things. One, The Rock did show up on WWE television this week. It just happened to be like AEW's Being the Elite. You have to watch the Pat McAfee show to catch what's going on now in the WWE universe. As he was there, he laid out some things. He talked about some things. And that leads to my second point here. The IWC is full of nothing but a bunch of Veruca salts. They want it, and they want it now. And they can't let guys like Triple H, who may be a B-plus player, he's a B-plus wrestler, but he's got an A-plus mind for the game. Now let him and The Rock cook behind scenes. The Rock's the final boss. He can still go. He can be the Vince McMahon guy. We've got Paul Heyman has now turned on Roman Reigns. Rock and Roman will still happen at a further down WrestleMania with Heyman hanging from a shark cage a la Enzo as they fight over who will have Heyman's heart. That's total bullshit. That's not really going to happen. But we're going to get Rock and Roman that way. It was also seen this last Monday of an unholy alliance that was just birthed. This unholy alliance led by Paul Heyman with Seth Rollins, who The Rock spilled the beans on the interview and said that Seth Rollins told him he would be willing to sell his soul to him. So Seth Rollins sells his soul to Heyman, who is a soul collector for The Rock, who is taking all these souls and taking everyone's things. Now we have Braun Breaker, who is now selling his soul as well. And we may get Austin Theory and some other people coming in to join this. And this is going to lead to so many more storylines down the road. We've got Paul E saying these things that he was saying on the Pat McAfee show, which he was probably saying those things because he can get away with it a little bit there. But he's got a little bit more of an edge. This is a kind of a new Paul E. And much like Jericho has changed his persona so many times, we're seeing Paul E do it again here with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and whoever their potential third or fourth member could possibly be. I made a joke with BRV earlier in the chat that maybe Becky Lynch joins them. Maybe Becky Lynch sells her soul, and the whole family sells their souls, even the kid. You saw she was trying to cut promos there at the presser. We get this whole unholy alliance with Becky Lynch, everyone selling their souls to The Rock because he's the one in charge. Now, if none of this works out, then yeah, go ahead, blame The Rock, blame Triple H all you want. It's totally their fault. They're the ones in charge. They're the ones that driving this billion-dollar Mercedes into a fucking brick wall. But just give them some time to work. Give them some time, guys. Just
I don't know, man. I think we've given them enough time.
I didn't watch the Triple H thing the Rock thing on McAfee, but from what I understand, it was basically him admitting that there is no plan, that he wasn't 20 steps ahead, that he's like kind of like in and out of this whenever he wants or whenever they ask and whenever they need a ticket pop. And it's really not a grand plan, nor is there going to be one. So that was my interpretation of the summaries I was getting online, but I could be definitely wrong, but that sounds about right based on everything I've seen. So I'm going to go with that.
No, man, it sounds oddly familiar to me. Because we're talking about how wrestling is mimic in real life, and we're talking about kayfabe on Fox with wrestlers and Gutfield. Like this whole thing of doing something and not having a fucking plan whatsoever. Sounds very familiar to something that's going on here in the United States right now. To that point, somebody asked about A-Track. He didn't watch WrestleMania. He's protesting.
Wow.
Yeah,
he's protesting.
He does not want anything to do with the WWE.
Boy, that's really going to hurt WWE in the long run.
What's that, buddy?
That's really going to hurt.
I didn't hear you, but what would you say?
It's really going to hurt WWE in the long run.
What's going to hurt WWE in the long run?
Him not watching Mania. I mean, fuck, we're doomed.
Well, absolutely.
He really showed them, but he hurt us all in the process. So I hope his point was really worth doing that, because now we're all
fucked. Track. Think about your friends.
A-Track can't be beat in these mean streets. He is the reason Seth Rollins is acting the way he is, and we have footage of it.
Oh, please, he sent Seth Rollins those stupid Bucky shoes.
In the mean streets of New York City, behind Madison Square Garden, A-Track Brown stepped to Seth Rollins, called his punk ass out. This is a fact. And ever since, he's been wearing stupid ass shoes walking around. We have footage of it, Striz. It's real. Yeah,
if you're going to call somebody out, why would you call it a big fucking pussy? Why wouldn't you go fucking somebody who had a set of nuts and call that?
We'll play it on the season premiere of WLR when we come back, and we will go over it. Before we get out of here.
But can I just make one more quick point? I just want to expand on what
sir.
Colin was saying. I think it's a good idea to have Becky go with Paul, because it reminds me, it's probably before the both of you were, all three of you guys were even born. Back in 1992 in WCW, Paul Heyman had the Dangerous Alliance, and one of the members of the Dangerous Alliance was Medusa, and that was a real kind of cool addition to it, because he had all the top guy players, and then he had Medusa on there too, which led towards a great feud between Medusa and Paul. But just to have her, Becky Lynch, be a part of that could be the thing I think that maybe Becky Lynch needs, because as a heel, we've already seen it, and this would be a different angle on top of that. So I think it'd maybe help give it a little bit more flavor. So not a bad idea.
Absolutely.
That'd be fun.
100%. I want to highlight Miss Liv Morgan here. Incredible. Almost saved the show by herself. There was nothing. I was like, good Lord. If anybody was watching, please, come on. So I just wanted to show that to you. And I do. What's up?
No, I saw in reference to that particularly gorgeous picture of Liv Morgan. I saw Zoe Stark online trying to stir up some crap about how slutty Liv's attire is, and I don't know if this is all part of a work or maybe an attempt at building an angle off of some social media drama, but hats off to Butterface Zoe Stark. I'm sure that is a great angle for her to try to fucking pull, if that is something she's doing. If this is like a work from the company, all the better. I love it. If it's if she's just talking some shit about a coworker on social media, fuck her, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah, either way, I appreciated the effort, if that in fact was an effort.
Let's talk about the greatest
video of her dancing on the bar.
Yes,
in her it was like two pieces of cloth, and they were just tied around her. You could see everything.
And for the record, Zoe Stark eats oats out of a bucket tied around her head. So.
Yeah. Very true. Let's talk about the greatest intercontinental champion of all time, ladies and gentlemen. He hasn't even had
he wasn't even on the show.
He hasn't even had a title defense, and he is already the greatest intercontinental champion of all time. He's the champion of all of North America still. All right. The dirtiest of the dirty, serving time in Alcatraz. They had to lock him up over there. And he came out even in spite of his deadbeat dad, he's managed to become the greatest Mysterio and the greatest Guerrero in company history. It's incredible. Okay. Shouts to Big Dom. That was fantastic. I couldn't be more happier to see him get the IC title, and they're freeing up Braun Breaker for a reason. I think he's going to break Jey Uso's back and take the world title. I really think this is where it's going at some point. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, I think Dom's going to win, and they're going to sick this guy on Jey Uso, and it's not going to be pretty. I think that's what's going to go down, and I'd be happy to see that for one, regardless. Thoughts on Dominic Mysterio, the greatest intercontinental champion of all time, hands down, bar none. There is no argument to be had. Striz, what do you think? I thought it was a dope match, and I think it's a good move putting the belt on him. Go ahead.
No, it was a great match. All four guys busted their asses. All four guys are there for the long run, even including Finn, who's already been there over 10 years now. I feel like this is one of the best matches put together, like production-wise, of the entire weekend, and everybody killed it. And nobody lost a step. Like nobody, because they didn't win, came out worse than they went in. Everybody came out stronger, which is exactly what you're trying to do with a match like this. And Penta will be there one day, and hopefully, but like they keep the belt on Dom for a little bit, because I really feel like they could create a new Honky Tonk Man Intercontinental Champion style with Dom. I mean, obviously Dom works a much different style, but what I'm getting at is the chicken shit heel. You can't wait to see it taken off of the guy. A heel with the belt is a good idea for right now, because you have babyface, Jey Uso, whoever, lots of other champs to watch if you don't want to, for some reason you don't care to have a heel as your Intercontinental Champion. I don't know why it would matter, but at this stage of the game, he's perfect for that role. He's earned it. It's taken him 3 full years to get there, and if they just play him the right way, man, they can keep him hot for a long, long time. And the day that he finally loses that belt, man, it's gonna be a fucking pop.
Oh my God, it's gonna be amazing. I thought it was. This is one of my favorite moments of the night. I was on air when it happened, but my
he's
son.
Only the third father and son pairing to have the Intercontinental belt in the history of the company.
It's gonna be
Perfect and Curtis Axel is Ray and Dominic, and what was the other one? Was
IRS and Bray Wyatt.
IRS never had it. He had a tag belt, but
never had it.
It'll come back to me as we're talking. But
yeah, all right,
yeah,
that's fantastic. Colin, you want in on this? Dom.
You failed to mention that he escaped CCOT the weekend of Mania. And won the belt and defended it the following Monday. The only man to escape CCOT is Dirty Dominic Mysterio.
Very nice. Very nice.
We're going to be getting Eddie Guerrero finishes with this belt. And that's what is going to be so great, because we've seen him wrestle like his father. We've seen him deal with his father, his other father. Now we get to see him wrestle like his real dad.
Right.
He's going to go out there. He's going to throw belts at people and act like he's knocked out. We're going to get all of the lie, cheat, and steal Latino heat.
Yes.
Dominic Guerrero was born to give us in this world of wrestling.
It's gonna be fucking amazing.
Rikishi and Jey Uso were the other pairing.
There you go. Good job.
Come to me somewhere.
I wouldn't have ever even thought of it. Yes, fantastic. Dirty Dom did do that, by the way. He got deported on his way to WrestleMania, and he's like, "Fuck that shit," and he got out of CCOT. Only man that ever did it. And went on to win the IC title. I'm very, very impressed. Okay. I do want to talk about Jey Uso for a little bit, man. Just because they really fucking stuck it to this guy. I think they stuck it to him and they stuck it to Gunther at the same time. And it's funny because now we're watching this whole backstage thing with Triple H that they're gonna air on, I think it's on Peacock or something. And he's like, "Oh, Mania, this is what we did, and we've been building for it since day one. Oh, that's the off season. Oh my God, now we're gonna get ready for 42." And he's sitting there talking to Jay, and he's like, "We're gonna put a rocket on your back. We're gonna strap a rocket on your back." And you see Jay Uso standing there, probably drunk, nodding up and down. And you know what? I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it. It's the truth. I could have done a better job than what they've done here with this. And they need to figure out how not to freaking force feed things. You know, Jey Uso was not ready. And that's why, and they proved it. Why wasn't he main eventing? He's main event Jey Uso, for Lord's sake. And you have him opening up. It just doesn't make any sense. They put the title on him. They figured out how to screw Jey Uso, screw Gunther, and screw that world title at the same time. Like it was just, everything was downgraded there. Nothing got better. And then they're making this dude tap out, right? And several people in the chat, Iron Patriot for one, I think mentioned that he should have passed out. And I think you mentioned it, Striz. We talked about it. You, Colin, did too. I think all of you did at some point. That, or was it you, Bello? I'm not sure if I'm taking credit from. So one of you did it and said that this guy should have passed out, right? And that was it. First off, I wouldn't have even booked it that way.
Yeah, I said, who the fuck taps out in a sleeper?
That's true. Yeah. That's what you said, right? And I wouldn't have even booked it that way. I would have booked it as Jay gets his ass kicked the entire time and squeaks away with one, you know, somehow, you know.
Well, he should have got his ass kicked and then lost the match, because it makes Gunther the guy who loses every big match when he's supposed to be the exact opposite of that.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. But if you're going to give it to him, at least let him sneak away with it rather than putting this guy out, like making him tap out. It's like, my God. I'm like, who does Jey Uso make tap out? You know, it's not even a thing. So I was surprised to see that. And the match opened up, and the match wasn't even very good. I am sorry. I did not think it was a good match. It was okay at best. You know, that night was riddled with bad matches, of course, but this was supposed to be one of the ones that everybody was looking forward to see. I just thought it was a disaster for very different reasons than the John Cena Cody Rhodes match, but I just thought it was a disaster overall. Go ahead, Trish.
Well, I think the best thing they could do with Gunther right now, they should have let him go on vacation. They shouldn't have been on Raw beating up Michael Cole or fucking Pat McAfee, because who the fuck is dying for the Pat McAfee versus Gunther match where they put McAfee over? You know, even if they don't put him over, it's like, okay,
I was just about to talk about how much I'm looking forward to that.
If Pat McAfee wins, the commentator beat this guy who was a world champion. If Pat McAfee loses, it's like you beat a fucking commentator. What was the point? So it's fucking, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. They should have put him on vacation for fucking 6 months and said, "Hey, you've been doing a great job. Go to Aruba. We'll call you when we need you." And then, like, after SummerSlam, maybe you bring him back or leave to, you know, as you go into the fall, getting ready for Royal Rumble, whatever. And then his next bit of business should have been getting a shot at the U.S. title and winning the U.S. title and just keeping it for 3 fucking years. Just similar to what he did with the Intercontinental belt, but longer, because nobody gives a fuck about the U.S. title. And since he's not from the U.S., it writes itself. And you have all the guys who want to get it off of him, who are undercard guys who are kind of coming into the biz, helps young babies get a good spot on the card and work a hard match. Show them how tough they can be with Gunther, but goddamn it, he's Gunther and he's tough as leather. And, you know, losing to him is no embarrassment. He's a champion. He's tough as nails. And, you know, you might have lost, but you learned a lot in the process. And you move on, and you're telling the story of your career. So I think that would be the best business that you could do with him at this point. I wouldn't keep him in the world title thing because we saw it be flat. But as a minor champion, I feel like this is a lot more that you can do with it. But people want to see world championship matches with the top most, interesting personalities and matches that, you know, they're used to seeing at that kind of a pace. There's nothing wrong with being a slower, more methodical worker. It's just that over the last 20-something years, we've been, you know, indoctrinated to accept, like, not necessarily like a more like Seth Rollins-y style, but a more Seth Rollins-y style of like constantly going 20-minute nonstop, you know, fighting spirit type of match, which I guess, you know, people can say what they want about it. It's just, it is what it is. And Gunther as world champion is a little bit flat because although his matches are fairly decent, he's going to be a guy in there, someone who knows how to work an old school style. Not everybody does that the right way, and his lack of personality on top of it makes it, that it's kind of hard to shine those matches up. So, and they don't even bring Marcel Bartel out there anymore to introduce him to the crowd, which used to work with getting a little extra heat and keeping him out there as the heat guy. So, like, by taking that away, it's like, you're stripping this guy down to his studs, and he needs like a little bit of flair. I mean, you can't just be like empty, unseasoned fucking unflavored oatmeal and expect people to go, oh, that's delicious. Can I get more of that? You gotta have a little bit of fucking brown sugar in there somewhere.
Nice. John
Gunther's
Dingle.
oatmeal. That's what you should walk away with.
John Dingle says that that Gunther's title run was ass, and he's right. And he says, why are we acting like his run was any good? I don't think anybody here on the panel thinks his run was good. We just think they further screwed Gunther here, in the match with Jey Uso. And somebody, I think it was Jimmy Davis, he was like, what do you mean that Jey Uso was force-fed? Well, he is over as hell. But what I mean is he wasn't ready for a main event. And they proved that by not putting him in the main event. We can't argue that. It's what they did. We didn't do it. All we did was call out that he wasn't ready for it. And they showed us that he wasn't ready for it. They went ahead and did it. We didn't do it. They did that. So take it up with the WWE and Triple H. The Andrew Bello, the God of Thunder. Tell us your thoughts. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, Gunther's run up to this point wasn't very good, right? Jey Uso shouldn't have won the Rumble, right? Like there's a lot of things that went wrong here. The fact that it's an opening match, they're still calling this guy main event. The fact that he won, the fact that they had him miraculously turn into a fucking submission specialist out of nowhere. Not only that, he's applying this sleeper hold to a much larger man, a guy who never, again, Jey Uso never does submission holds ever. I don't even know if like a sleeper just kind of feels like it's one everybody knows, but nevertheless, like, I guess we'll give him the pass on that. But Gunther tapping out doesn't make any sense, right? Like, he should just have fallen asleep. So basically all of the criticism that's out there about the match, I wholeheartedly agree with, and I feel like I just want to emphasize. My biggest issue with this is probably my biggest issue of the entire weekend, bigger than the predictability of the outcome of the main event on night one, and for that matter, the fucking, lackluster main event we got on night two. Triple H's comments about this match in particular, Jey Uso versus Gunther, in the press conference. I have like these quotes here, but frankly, they're not really quotes, right? Like they're very much kind of they're not verbatim, right? Like, I'm paraphrasing here, but on Jey Uso, he was this is Triple H after he reiterated that the new season starts in a few hours and all that stuff that Billy Ray said before. He said about Jey Uso, like, he found something he really believes in, and he's not just a gimmick. He's not just like doing a gimmick. And I thought to myself, man, I've been watching Jey Uso for months. What does this guy believe in? Because the only things I know he believes in are Yeet, Oos, and the fact that he's in my city. Other than that, I don't know what this motherfucker believes. He found what? What did he believe in? This is very much a gimmick. This is very much shtick, and it's lazy shtick at that. This all stems from the Daniel Bryanification of professional wrestling. I blame him. The Yes Movement became the Kofi Mania, became fucking this bullshit. And it's only gonna get worse from here, folks. But yeah, I just it's disgusting. Frankly, I'm disgusted by all this. But then on the Gunther front, and this is the most mind-boggling part of all of it, is Triple H was he was asking about, like, what'd you think about Gunther's performance? And he went on this long tangent about, you learn a lot about guys when they're out there and they're going to lose a match like that. And some of the best performances come in losses. And he was like doing this like whole shtick, and he never really answers the question. But I'm sitting there the whole time going, even if hypothetically, right? Like there's some aspect of his performance that he, as the arbiter of talent on this roster, can get something from. You've got this monster giant guy losing another big match at WrestleMania to an underdog, and he's tapping out in the middle of the ring again to a sleeper. Oh, like it, like make of it what you will. Maybe you get all in the world from this performance that he put in, but the character is fucked, because there's no world in which maybe next year Gunther's chasing a title and we're all excited for him to finally win the big one, because he's a big fucking heel and that situation never comes about for them. It's just like this is fucked now. Now, to Striss's point, he's got to go back down to the mid card. He's going to have to do something like a U.S. or an intercontinental title run for a while, maybe build himself back up. But instead of maybe being like a generational dominant heel champion, they've got not much. Like I was going to say Sheamus, but that's an insult to Sheamus. Like it was they've got, I don't know. They got nothing. They got very little here out of this. Whereas, now they got Jey Uso. Listen, Jey Uso's over. Does Jey Uso need the belt to be over? He's so over without the belt. Like, why are we in such a rush to put this title on him when maybe we could have rekindled this Gunther championship run by beating Jey Uso and like getting all of that heat and then passing that on to some other babyface who maybe does need a title run to kind of get over a little bit more. I don't know. Just the math here doesn't check out, and I don't foresee like there's a big payoff coming that's going to rectify any of this.
Iron Patriot is on a roll today. Just a great comment after great comment after great comment. I'm not going to compliment you ever again after this, Iron Patriot. So please. All facts, Colin Wysong, wrap it up for us, sir.
When you put the comments up, I look like Jonathan Gresham waiting for the tag on the outside of the ring. He's just barely, the ropes are up to my chin.
Right. Sorry.
On the Gunther point, I would love to see Gunther beat the crap out of Pat McAfee and all of his army of people on the show. Let him smack Ty Schmidt around. Let him beat up Boston Connor. Let him just run through the whole show. That's going to be great. Bello, you're being a Veruca Salt right now. You're I want it now with your generational championship run with a heel, when we just had a generational championship run with Roman Reigns. So we can't have both. It would be too bad there. And then Jey Uso, I feel like he knows more than just yeet and all those other things that you said. He knows how to drink and party. And
yeah, he's Samoan Little John. That's basically
no. Which Hardy is Jey Uso?
He eats.
Which Hardy brother is Jey Uso? And which one is Jimmy? Is Jimmy Matt and then Jay is Jeff? Is that how this is going to correlate in their careers?
Probably. Yeah,
he's going to have the trajectory of Jeff.
Right. That's pretty good.
So Jey Uso's going to be singing on Instagram in fucking 20 years, fucking all
rapping.
Yeah, just.
All right, let's touch on, before we get out of here. We'll give it a little bit more time, trying to see if something happens. But if it does, I mean, I'm not staying up for much longer. But at the end of Raw, we got, and I know we touched on it already to a degree, but we got Braun Breaker along with Paul Heyman, and Seth Rollins. Right, I thought it was pretty cool. You know what I liked the most was the camera angle. When I don't know if it was CM Punk or I think it was CM Punk, actually. It looked like he was about to spear Seth Rollins, but it wasn't Seth Rollins. He got CM Punk instead, but the camera angle was right on Seth Rollins. It was really dope. I thought that was very cool. And we all knew, Bello predicted it, and you guys could have became millionaires 10 times over if you listened, that we all knew what was going to happen on night one. It was still nice to see. For some reason, it was still cool to see it actually happen. But now it's the new Dangerous Alliance, right? And who else is involved here? It was actually pretty cool, I thought, on Monday Night Raw to see Braun Breaker there. they're gonna make him a world champ. They're not gonna give him the Cody Rhodes strap just yet. He's not beating. Well, who knows? He could beat John Cena, right? John Cena needs to put somebody over that's not already an established star, right? That's what he needs to do, pass the torch. So it could be him, but I think it's Jey Uso that's gonna get broken here. Broken Jey Uso. Delete. We're talking about the connections between both of them. So let's see what develops. Bello, you were nodding your head. I want to know what you're thinking. Come on.
Yeah, I if I was tweeting about this on X, and if you've been watching WLR, listening to WLR, you saw this coming like a week or two before it became perfectly and painfully obvious on Raw, and more importantly than that, if you were following the logic of your God of Thunder, is you knew that Seth Rollins was going to need a heater, right? Like, you're going to have CM Punk and Roman Reigns all pissed off at you. Paul Heyman ain't going to fucking defend you. Where are you going to go? And they went to the dog, Braun Breaker here, a Heyman guy kind of already pre-established from NXT. So now he's in the loop here. I do think that there'll be more members. I love the idea of Becky. I wouldn't mind if he I wouldn't mind. Well, I guess they can't do it with the El Grande Americano thing, but maybe if Gable's going to keep doing El Grande Americano, they absorb that fucking tag team, because those guys are freaky athletic and maybe can just be some cannon fodder for them for a little while and get some exposure that way. But was it the Creed brothers or whatever that is? But yeah, get them in there. But it'll be interesting to see what they do, if they do anything. But I'm already seeing that the reports are it's going to be Punk and Roman versus Braun Breaker and Seth at WrestleMania Backlash. So we're gonna, Braun Breaker, welcome to the main event, kid. Like, I mean, they took that Intercontinental title off of him, passed it to Dom. That's going to do wonders for the mid card and for Dom, and now Braun's up here with Seth and Roman and Punk and all this sort of stuff. But now that I'm mentioning Punk, and I know we've kind of closed the loop on the Cena thing, but I do want to just kind of circle back to that, because I feel like the story that they've set up now, they've really pigeonholed themselves with the Cena outcome. Is that I mentioned this last week, like the last day of the year, which he says he's retiring at the end of the year. He reiterated it on McAfee. Last day of the year is a Saturday night. And what are the odds they'll do a Saturday night main event or a PLE that night, and he's going to defend the title. And if he doesn't lose that match, he's going to fucking skedaddle out of town with this title. It's got to be, very Money in the Bank 2011-ish. And if it's going to be that, they may be tempted to do Punk versus Cena at Money in the Bank, the pay-per-view, but I feel like they got to just skip that and do it for the last night. And Punk has to be our defender. Just doing that whole thing the opposite way. I don't want it to be Cody. It doesn't need to be Cody anyway. Cody's fine. Cody's going to be fine. He'll eventually turn heel and everything's going to be fine.
Cody's going to be fine. I think it's a mistake to turn him heel right now.
Not right now, but eventually.
A-Track kind of came up with something dope when we were talking about it. He was like, they need to keep Cody Rhodes off of TV for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. I was like, that's the best thing to do, because he's getting booed now. And I don't know if that's reversible. He didn't come out on Raw, did he? Right? No, there was no Cody on Raw, right?
I don't think so.
I don't know if there was or what. That's a smart move. I would keep him off of SmackDown because he's going to get booed. So if you want to keep him as a babyface and keep making that money, I would protect him just a little bit. Let him take a couple of months off, come back, massive pop, and we can continue this. And he doesn't need the title right now, so it can be a struggle. It's going to be the chase. The chase is always better than him getting the title in the first place. Striz, what's up, buddy? Give us your thoughts.
If he's going to be off TV for a while, they never will do this, but they say, hey, listen, you and your wife, you got to do a blackout from social media, because they post every goddamn thing that they do, Disney, this and that, and all these friends, and listen to all these. We went out to dinner, and here's our fucking appetizer. Come on, it's hard to miss if you don't go away. And this is still a presence, and just fucking ease up on that shit for 6 months or whatever the fuck it is, 2 months, 3 months, just so we can just kind of. It's good to forget about a guy for a little bit, because it is easy to do. Even a guy like Cody, who's been on everything for since he's been back in the company, even him you can tend to forget about because you're watching everything else, and everything else gets involved. And so when he does come back, you're glad to see him. Holy shit, Cody Rhodes! Oh, he looks fantastic, because he's gotten to go home and sleep in his own bed for weeks at a time and go to the gym and get out there, get a tan. You know what I mean? Like do some fun things and relax and repair that body because he's no spring chicken. You know, if you want guys to be in best shape when they're working, you got to give them time off. So a little time off would probably do them some good. If they do bring him back on TV, yeah, you're right. They have the chance of him getting booed before they want.
Right.
Because you don't want to feel forced into doing it because it's like, the crowd controls the narrative. You want to do it when the timing is right and when it makes the most sense, and you do want to, strike while the iron is hot. And if they do it too soon, then you're stretching things out longer than they need to be to get to where you want it to go. So, maybe that's the best idea is, hey, take a couple months off, and we'll do all right without you. And his merch will still sell. I mean, you have his shirts at the show; people are gonna buy them, so he'll still make a ton of money. Same with Jey Uso. Even as champion, or if he would lose the belt in a day, he's still selling tons of Yeet stuff. So that stuff's not going to go away. So, let him take the time that he needs to fucking go and relax a little bit and then come back in like at SummerSlam for a feud or first Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam, ready to go, do some business.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Fantastic. All right. Colin Wysong, take us home.
Oh man, I have to agree with these guys. I think Cody definitely needs to take some time off. But one of the things that, again, I urge everyone to try to go and listen to The Rock on the Pat McAfee show, because he kind of talks about Cody and him being a heel in the future, and they basically says that they're not looking for him to be a heel anytime soon. So there's that, at least if The Rock is saying that, there's hope for Cody to still be a heel. I think some of the boos that Cody received were because the fans there at WrestleMania that paid all that money for those tickets are more of the smart marks that would cheer for a John Cena turning heel and all this other stuff, because it is John Cena's last Mania and it's this whole last run. No matter who they put in front of John Cena, I think they're going to boo the other person and cheer John Cena. Even if it is Randy Orton coming up here at Backlash, I think you'll probably see Randy Orton catch some boos and Cena catch the cheers. And it's, of course, Cena's going to go over in that instance. But Cody needs some time off. Go home, spend some time with your family. I think they left their kid at the arena because I saw pictures of them leaving. He was leaving with Brandy, and he didn't have the kid or anything with him. It was just him and Brandy leaving after he lost. So I think there might be a lost kid still at Allegiant Stadium.
They sacrificed him to The Rock. The Rock ate the baby.
Right.
Because they got to keep that push,
They're eating the babies.
The Rock ate the baby. The dingo ate your baby. Okay, we're getting up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. It is WLR, the season finale. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in as you did. Hey, Robert Bronson Vickery was in the chat. How are you? Good, sir. We can't go by the show and not shout you out since you were in the chat. What's up? What's up? Hope you're doing well. Charlotte Flair, not so good. Not so good. But it is what it is. I don't know if you're still on that bandwagon, but whatever. It's time to get up out of here. We will see you when we see you. Maybe for SummerSlam. I don't know. Keep your eyes open and your ears open. Striz, tell these people where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, like we were saying before the show, maybe we'll come on the week before SummerSlam and assess what we've watched through, if we do watch any of it during the summer, but maybe come on the week before, then the week after SummerSlam, give our thoughts on that. And but we'll see how it goes. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll see how we're feeling at the time. And I'm sure by then we'll miss doing the show and hearing from all the people that listen to us regularly. And if you've been one of those people and we see the chat, like it's the same people every week, which is great. And even if you agree with what we say or you don't agree with what we say, we do really
absolutely
appreciate your support. We love having you in our chat. And thank you so much for being a part of the show. And you're all honorable mentions in the WLR, and we're glad to have you along for the ride. So we hope everybody has a great summer. Do lots of fun things. Really try to be in the moment. If you have some time to get away, do it. Try to have a clean break from work. Try to do some fun stuff, and don't forget time's fleeting. We're all getting a little bit older, so try to enjoy as much of the summer as you can. And if you want, you can stay in touch with me by following me on X. at Strangler Steve _, and I'll be watching the Biz because I'm going to be doing a couple Friday locker rooms with Ben Hameen throughout the summer, and so I got to kind of keep my chops sharp that way. And I'll be throwing up lots of polls. Strizz's poll is always big and heavy, ready to go at any moment. So I'll go up there and take a look at my poll and tell me what you think.
What's up, this guy in the chat? Thank you. I think this guy's been on every show that we've done lately in the last few months. We appreciate the hell out of you. Iron Patriot, of course. Thank you for tuning in every week. We appreciate you, man. My dude Armand, what's going on, my guy? How are you, man? Thank you for being here. Everybody over at Hami Media, we haven't broadcasted there very often, but we are today because it's the finale. So what's up to you guys over there? 8-Track Doom says, F me. I gave you the biggest shout out. I told the story about what you did to Seth Rollins. What else am I supposed to do here? Anyway, the F me is cool. That's fine. All facts. Colin Wise song. Tell the people where they can find you.
First off, I can't believe 8-Track Doom would dare say that I would serve undercooked chicken. Okay. We all know that you serve chicken at a piping hot 145 degrees Fahrenheit. I tempted out 8-Track before I served it to you. Jesus Christ. People just don't let shit go.
Seriously.
It's a fucking God. He wanted a fucking sandwich. I made him a chicken sandwich. And it was under fucking cooked.
Tell the people where they can find you, buddy.
You can find me on the X at Colin Wysong. And yeah, that's it. No, not Knicks in 5. No Knicks in 5.
No Knicks. Knicks are gonna freaking lose.
Canes.
Come on. And even if they do win, they're just gonna let you down against the Celtics. So don't even bother. Don't bother, please. Whatever. Anyway,
Thibodeau's been running those guys into the ground all season just to lose in the second round of the playoffs.
Fuck that noise. I will watch Monday Night Raw from the beginning to end instead of watching one Knick playoff game. If they make it past the Celtics, I'll watch again. And that's a tall order, right? And that's not going to happen. 99% certainty that they are not beating the Celtics. So they may not even beat the Pistons from the way this is looking. This is disgusting. I'm done. I'm going to go to Yankee Stadium and watch a real freaking team. And I'll sit there. I may even go to Queens and sit down and watch the Mets from time to time. It's a beautiful stadium over there. The Andrew Bello, ladies and gentlemen, the master of something. He's probably the master of
everything,
for sure, without a doubt. Right? He is the god of thunder. He is the doctor of thundernomics, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, come on, don't stare into the sun. The whole deal. I know some of you did, because you're no longer on the chat and you started off in the chat. So that means that you looked at the sun and you either turned into stone or now you're blind. You can't see and you're trying to figure it out. Good luck. I warned you. The Andrew Bello. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you could find me on the X. At the Andrew Bello. That's TH to the E, AN to the D, REWBELLO. And by the way, over on YouTube as well, I actually am coming to the conclusion of my most recent song, so that'll be up very soon. And for that matter, you could probably also find me maybe around 10 o'clock on Tuesday nights on the PW Hustle channel. I got the login credentials. I may just fuck around, and in which case I'll put a link out and you can find out.
Dope. I love it. I love it. My name is Billy Ray Valentine, man. You can.
Hold on. He went frozen.
Hold on. I'm not frozen. Something happened over here.
We couldn't make it through a show without this. So that's
what happened. Oh, that was Striz that went frozen.
Oh,
there he is.
Oh, there he is. Now we got
double Striz.
It's Strizai.
I can
Reception.
Hold on.
It's the Strizception.
We got double Striz. Striz is gone now. No double Striz.
If only the other one was like frozen like this.
We were so close.
We did it for like a hot second.
What if the other one started talking and it wasn't this Striz? Like what?
That'd be dope, bro.
This is 5D Earth Strangler talking right now.
It's just phone Strangler Steve.
Wow.
On a different level.
Double rainbow. Throwback.
Double rainbow.
My name is Billy Ray Valentine. You can catch me over at theinfinitefringe.podbean.com. I did put up a new episode about 3 weeks ago, and I'm going to put up a couple other stuff that we've done. We're still doing America Unplugged. If you want to go check that, America Unplugged, 12 p.m. Eastern, every Saturday on Tony Arterburn's X, on Don Jeffries' X, and of course on Don Jeffries' YouTube channel. I'm probably gonna be opening up my X channel, so you can check there until I find out something better to do. So follow me there, and I have a new YouTube channel that I'm opening up, and we're gonna build. So go check that. And that's it. That's all we got so far. Come see the PW Hustle. A-Track Brown is doing his thing over on the PW Hustle YouTube channel, doing all the reviews all the time. And I'm sure throughout the summer we're gonna get some PW Hustle shows and talk some professional wrestling, because why fucking not, right at this point. Look for us at SummerSlam. We may or may not be there, but either way, look for us, and see what happens. And Striz is definitely going to be out in LA for when Worlds Collide. I think I'm going out there, man. To be first off, I get to see Striz. But Striz and I were supposed to go to Mexico and watch wrestling. We got to do that at some point. But this is the next best thing. I still want to go to Arena Mexico, and mark freak out over there, right? And be a real wrestling fan.
It'll change your life.
I know it freaking will. I cannot wait.
Don't forget Ather's making the trip over the pond in the summer too. I think he's going to be in New York around June or July, I believe.
In New York?
Yes.
I didn't give Athers permission.
Get him off the island?
Right. Like I didn't give
him in the States.
Well, he's not coming to New York. He didn't talk to me. So he's not getting in here. I don't understand what the fuck he's thinking. If he wants to get in New York, you got to come through the proper channels. Otherwise, it's not going to finish. It's not going to end well for you.
New York City, New Japan Pro Wrestling. You got to check with Billy Ray either way.
Absolutely. All right, we're getting up out of here. Bells, I got to ask you.
No, yeah, I'm not. You know
I'm
what?
not
battling Track, by the way. I'm not battling
Track. And what?
That's not a thing. I don't know. He's challenging me to a battle.
Like a hip hop battle?
Apparently, yeah. It takes me like 3 months to come up with 16 bars. Like, I don't think we're doing battles yet. I'm not quite there.
I mean,
but thank you.
Track can freestyle, by the way.
And yes, The Last of Us. I agree.
I haven't seen any of The Last of Us. I'm dying to watch it.
I fell asleep through the first 4 episodes of season 1. It was like, I'm going to stop watching
fantastic.
No, it was all awful. It's fucking
Go watch The Pit.
Pedro Pascal is a stain on humanity. I hate this. I just hate this fucking goober. It's gonna be the worst Reed Richards. We're gonna long for the motherfucking days of the old Fantastic Four. We may even appreciate Fan Four Stick by the time this is all done.
Yo, Bells.
You are not gonna catch my punk.
I'll catch your punk ass down the road. Getting up out of here. You guys have an excellent summer. Very sexy. Hey. Very sexy. What?
Am I got a mop? It's too wet.